Feel free to be whoever you want to be. Feel free to dance, feel free to sing, just feel free. Feels like the world is picking on ya. Feels like it's picking on me. But trying to please everybody, that ain't no way to be. So many people try to get you to fit their mold. I think it's time for a change. This is what I say. Feel free to be.
All right. Welcome back to the Two Tone Talk Podcast, episode 28, the Chris Johnson episode, CJ2K, number 28. Hey, I haven't done an episode since the draft, okay? Haven't done an episode since the draft. And I really wasn't planning on doing another episode for another couple of weeks. I was going to wait until the preseason kind of got going and, you know, football was upon us and everything. But there's just some things that have happened over the last 24 hours that I thought called for a little discussion today on the Two Tone Talk Podcast. So welcome back, everybody, to the Two Tone Talk Podcast. I am your host, Brad Steele. Thank you if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, or if you're watching on YouTube. Please be sure to go and subscribe to the Two Tone Talk Podcast on YouTube, because football season ain't far away, folks. It ain't far away at all. And so this thing's about to get going, and I want to have my Titans fam here. So everybody go make sure to subscribe to Two Tone Talk on YouTube. Okay, let's talk about it, everybody. Let's talk about it. I did a video about it on my main channel, that channel's pretty much music-centered, but I do some Titan stuff over there from time to time, trying to get some of that traffic over here. But I did a video about it yesterday, but now we're going in depth. I am on record as saying, okay, back when, you know, the rumors started that the Cardinals were shopping around DeAndre Hopkins, I was on record as saying then, I don't want to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. I said it. You know, you can go back and listen to past episodes of this podcast. I said I don't want to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Because, what are we going to trade? We ain't got a lot of draft capital, right? We already have numerous rounds in the draft next year where we're not even going to be picking as of right now. So I thought they ain't going to want Tannehill. They probably, ain't going to want Henry even. So we don't really have much to be like, okay, we'll trade you. And so I was just like, you know what? We don't need to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. We just need that ship needs to just sail, is what I said. But then he became a free agent. Arizona apparently couldn't find a trade partner, so they just released him. I said, there you go. Here's free agency. When that happened, my opinion on the matter changed a little bit. Went from, we don't need to trade for this guy to, he's a free agent, so we ain't got to trade nothing. Okay? When that happened, it was like, okay, I look at the wide receiving room, I'm like, we got Traylon, and then what? Okay? So I said, sure, we need to go for it. We need to inquire about DeAndre Hopkins. But I want to go on record as saying now that I did not think it was going to happen. I did not believe that it was going to happen at all. New England obviously was involved. They had him in for a visit. A lot of people thought he was going to go to New England, because people, New England is a team that people want really deep down. They want them to be good. In sports media, people want New England to be good because it's Belichick. It's the dynasty. It's all that. They want the Patriots to be good because in their mind, football is better when the Patriots are good. Anyway, I didn't think he was going to go to New England. What I thought was going to happen, I just knew that Kansas City or Buffalo or Philadelphia was just going to swoop in at the last second. I knew it. I knew that was going to happen. I was sitting there, I was like, we're going through all of this for the Chiefs to come in and get him at the 11th hour. Okay. That's what I thought was going to happen more than anything. One of those contenders was going to, not the Bengals because they don't have any money, but and the Chiefs really don't either. But I thought the Bills, the Eagles, that seemed like some jerk move that Nick Sirianni would pull. So I didn't have my hopes up at all. And yesterday I get home from church. I got home from church, and it's ironic. I just got home from church, but when I got home, that's when the praising really started to begin, okay? I felt like I needed to go back to church and do a little praising and worshiping. So, DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Titans. And, we know about DeAndre Hopkins. He was a Houston Texan for many years, and he used to torch us year after year. We know all about D-Hop. All right. So I think it's exciting. It's great. A lot of talk today on Twitter. Isn't it funny how everybody wanted DeAndre Hopkins, and then he goes to the Titans, and when he goes to the Titans, all of a sudden the discussion becomes, well, he's washed. He's washed. He's not going to be able to play much anyway. Like, the discussion totally changes. If he had gone to New England, it would have been like, Matt Jones finally has that number one wide receiver. The Patriots might make some noise. If he had gone to New England, the discussion would be totally different. You cannot tell me any different than this. Sports media, ESPN, and all the different things, you cannot tell me that they were not sitting there praying that DeAndre Hopkins did not go to Nashville. They were like, come on, not the Titans. Go somewhere exciting like New England or Philadelphia. Go be with the Bills. Like, they wanted him to go to one of those teams that they love to talk about all the time. And now, for at least a day, they've got to talk about the lowly Tennessee Titans because DeAndre Hopkins chose to go there. I think it's hilarious. Now, as far as what that means for this season, the ceiling for this team, the expectation of what this team could be. It's been an interesting offseason, hasn't it? I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride of emotions so far this offseason, because when the season ended, it was like, okay, what are the Titans doing? What are they going to do? Are they going to tank? Are they going to, they got a new GM? Are they just going to hit the restart button, blow it up? We've heard rumors of trades for Derrick Henry. We've heard rumors of Kevin Byard being traded. We heard rumors that they weren't going to re-sign Big Jeff. We heard rumors they were going to trade Tannehill. We heard rumors that they were going to trade this guy and that guy and get rid of that guy and that guy. And there was people that realistically thought, like, hey, the Titans, they might just be starting over. Reset, Well, now here we are on July the 17th. And I'll tell you, no matter what you think about this move yesterday, whether you think it was the right move, the wrong move, whether you think it makes a big difference, whether you think it doesn't make a big difference, the message that it sends is that this team thinks that they can make some noise this year. They signed him to a 2-year deal, but I said it yesterday, you don't make a move like this if you don't believe you can make some noise right now. And if you remember Rand Carthon's introductory press conference, he said, because he was asked, are you guys going to reset the roster, kind of wipe the slate clean? He was asked about that in his introductory press conference, and he said, no, I believe this team can be competitive with anybody right now. Okay. Now, he said that, and the opinion of everybody watching is like, well, it's the introductory press conference. What else is he supposed to say? You're not going to come in on day one and say, well, yeah, we're going to reset everything. But this move yesterday that Rand Carthon was bragging about on Twitter, by the way, go check out Rand's Twitter. He's on there talking about like, yeah, we made it happen. On to the next one. Like he's excited about this move, all right, as he should be. But he sent that message yesterday that like I believe we can be competitive right now, and it's interesting because the AFC, let's be honest, the AFC is stacked. Okay. Absolutely stacked. Chiefs, we already know. As long as number 15 is the quarterback of that team, they're a contender, right? It don't matter. You take Tyreek Hill away, you take Travis Kelce away. As long as he's there, they're a contender, all right? He's that good. The Bills, their name's still in the mix. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, yeah, they're still right there. Bengals, Burrow, Chase, they're still right there. Titan Anderson Sports, what's up? You mentioned yesterday we need to get together. Let's do it. But the Bengals, they're still going to be there. A lot of people intrigued by the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not, but a lot of people are. Dolphins, I still ain't sleeping on the Dolphins. Dolphins got a ton of talent. Okay, Ravens bringing Lamar Jackson back. People think they're going to be better. Browns with, what's his name? Watson. Who knows what they're going to be. There's a lot of great teams in the AFC. It honestly ticks me off because the NFC, they got the Eagles and then who? I mean, I don't know who after the Eagles? Maybe the 49ers. Anyway, the AFC is stacked. So, and not to mention, I mean, in our own division, you got a guy, Trevor Lawrence, in Jacksonville. We can be in and out all we want to. Dude's good, and they got a good team over there. All right. So the AFC is stacked. So it's interesting for Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, who could have very well looked at this year. They could have looked at this very year and said, hey, you know what? AFC stacked. We ain't got the most money in the world. Maybe let's just lay back. Let's just lay back and come what may. And early on in free agency, it seemed like that may be what they were doing. Because they're signing guys that, kind of on what felt like prove-it deals. We're going to sign you. We're going to give you an opportunity. Maybe it's an offensive lineman who, got hurt and then another guy came in, took his spot, and he never got his job back. We're going to give you an opportunity to come in. That's what it felt like early on in free agency. Oh, they're putting guys on prove-it deals to see if they can get some guys for the next year. But, I mean, they got some talent. I mean, Arden Key from Jacksonville, that's a big signing. Like, that was a big thing. Al-Shaair, I'm excited about him as well. But that wide receiving group, they were kind of like the black cloud that just lingered over the team. It's like, okay, how can we possibly say we're trying to be competitive when we have this wide receiving group that we have? God bless the guys on it. I'm sure they're wonderful people. But we sit here and we look and we're like, man, how can we try and kid ourselves and say we're trying to be competitive when we have this group of people on the outside? Like, what are we doing? Well, yesterday changes things. Like I said earlier, even if you don't think it's the right decision, even if you're not crazy about it, even if you think it's not going to make that big a difference, this shows that in their minds, Amy, Rand, Mike, Vrabel, this shows that in their minds, they're saying, no, we're not waiting until next year. We think that this team right here, right now, can be competitive. And let's be honest, this is Tannehill's, I was about to say retirement tour. He may not be retiring, but it's his farewell tour with the Titans. This season, this is probably it for him. I mean, I would imagine that they would hope that either Levis or Malik or whoever will be ready to take the reins, next year, and that this will probably be it for Tannehill. And let's be honest, as bad as it hurts, it's probably going to be the farewell tour for King Henry as well. I mean, unless he comes out and just balls out, which he very well may. We know this dude, he just keeps on bringing it every year. Everybody's, you see this list, they had him ranked as the 5th best running back in the league. God, that's so bad I got to get a sip of my coffee. My dog agrees. My dog's mad about the fifth place running back. Stanley Wilson has a point in the chat here on YouTube. He said, I love how everyone is talking cash money junk on how we still don't have the team to compete. I saw a tweet about this yesterday that I found very interesting. It said, he'll stop barking in a second, guys, sorry. It said that 2 years ago, the Tennessee Titans had a team with Ryan Tannehill, a quarterback. Okay. Derrick Henry, only there half the season. He got hurt halfway through the season and was out the whole second half of the season. Julio Jones missed half the season. A.J. Brown went on injured reserve. They had like 20 players on injured reserve. And they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. And that was an AFC that had Mahomes, Burrow, Allen. Like, that was a pretty stacked AFC too. And they were the number 1 seed with all those injuries, with Tannehill at quarterback, with AJ out a lot, with Julio out a lot, and with Derrick Henry out a lot. So the idea that this team can't compete is a little bit ridiculous, because if you look at the defense, I think is going to be pretty good. I mean, I think the Titans, and I don't think this is just me being a Titans homer. I think the last couple of years, the Titans defense, even last year when the offense was terrible, the last few years, the Titans defense has been legitimately good. Very good. As a matter of fact, I would say one of the better defenses in the NFL. I'm not saying they're the best, but they're definitely upper echelon of defenses in the NFL, right? I mean, their front four, especially getting Harold Landry back this year, like, they're legit. You know, they got a really good defense. Even last year when the offense couldn't even put up 20 points, literally, go back and look, they could not even scratch. Their season high, the Titans offense, I hate to revisit it because we've moved on, but the Titans offense last year, season high in points was 27. 27. I think they got over 20 points like 4 times in 17 games, right? So, like, that's pathetic. Like, we can all, whether you want to blame it on O-line or injuries or Todd, by God, Downting, we all remember him. Like, whoever you want to blame it on, that's beyond pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. But in spite of that, this defense held up well, with the exception of a couple of games. There was a couple of games in the middle, I think Philadelphia, the first game against Jacksonville, where they were, like, not playing well, a lot of injuries and whatnot. But with the exception of those 2 games, this defense held up to the point where, in spite of how terrible they were and the losing streak they went on, they almost beat Jacksonville in the last game of the season and stole their playoff spot from them. Because their defense just came out there and gave them a chance to win, you know? Offense couldn't reward them at all, anytime, but, you know. And Luke in the chat says, don't forget, we had Julio and never targeted him. So we do have some delusional Titan fans out here thinking it's going to be a 360 Tannehill, got to step up. Yeah, you know, that's the thing is, and I said this on Twitter yesterday. Go follow me on Twitter, @TwoToneTalk. Because I've been kind of quiet on there the last few months, but football season's getting ready to begin, and it's about to get busy over there. You know, last year and the year before, it was like you would sit there and you would have AJ and Julio on the team, and the Titans would come out for a 3rd and 5, and it would be like Nick Westbrook-Akine and Cody Hollister and Jeff Swaim lined up on the outside. Like, the personnel decisions, and I don't know whether it was a Downing thing or what, but, like, baffling. The personnel choices. I want to see that change. You know, I need to see that mentality change. I need Mike Vrabel to realize that, you know, having Chris Moore in there on 3rd and 5 is not the same as having DeAndre Hopkins. It's not the same. But yeah, I think we have a very good defense. That's the first thing, and that's what D Hop said. He said he wanted to go somewhere that had a great defense. Well, here you go. Should be good. They should be good, right? I think they kind of got rid of some dead weight. I hate to word it like that, but I mean, you remember Vrabel talked about how some guys from last year and years prior didn't really put in the work necessary outside of the building. I can't help but feel like he was talking about David Long. David Long now in Miami, already hurt. I mean, I hate that. I never want to see injuries, but like he's already hurt, and they haven't even like gotten a training camp. And also a guy on defense I am worried about is Christian Fulton. He seems like he all the stories about him, he didn't show up to some things. Vrabel seemed mad. I'm a little worried about whether he's all in or not, but I don't know. But let's talk about now that we know Hopkins is here. Let's talk about the quarterback. Because, listen, I get it. When the season ended last year, you can go back and listen. I said it was time for Tannehill to go. I was adamant about the fact that it was time for Tannehill to go. Not that he did anything overtly bad in my eyes, but it was just like, it's time to move on. God bless you. You can go start somewhere else. He is a starting caliber quarterback for somebody. Some may disagree, but I believe Ryan Tannehill, he is good enough to be starting somewhere. But as far as Tennessee, when last year ended, I said, you know what? It's time to move on. Time for him to move on. Time for us to move on. Well, we didn't. We didn't move on. And he's back. And knowing that like he's going to be the starter, I saw some people yesterday trying to insinuate that maybe Malik or Levis were going to be starting for the Titans this year. That's not happening. Unless Tannehill gets hurt, that's not happening. Tannehill's starting. And I like Ryan Tannehill. I do. I like Ryan Tannehill. I think he's tough. He gives it his all. I have no reservations about that at all. And I'm going to go a step further. Because some of y'all are going to disagree. I think he's a very good regular season quarterback. 2020 season, is the COVID year. They're playing in front of no live fans a lot of weeks. He was very, very good that year. Very good. Statistically, one of the better quarterbacks in the league that year. 21, that was the year they were the number one seed. Like I said, with Julio being out all the time, with AJ being out all the time, like they were number one seed, and he was the quarterback all the way through, and he did enough to help them win games and performed pretty well. Last year, he was hurt a lot and had absolutely nothing around. I mean, I do want to give him the benefit of the doubt there. Last year, he had the worst offensive line I've ever laid eyes on at any level. Not at any level. I've seen some, middle school offensive lines that were worse. But, he had Dennis Daly at left tackle. You're automatically behind the eight ball when you have Dennis Daly at left tackle. No weapons on the outside. And, he hung in there. Got hurt. It is what it is. I'm fine with Tannehill as a regular season quarterback. There are better guys out there. There are guys I'd rather have, but he's fine. But when I think of Ryan Tannehill, what concerns me the most is playoff Tannehill. If they have a good year and they make the playoffs, the year that he took the job and they went to the playoffs, they made that run, they got to the AFC title game, there's a lot of Derrick Henry. Okay, a lot of Derrick Henry. The two games they won in the playoffs, Tannehill didn't even throw for 100 yards. He made some nice passes here and there in those playoff games, but he didn't even throw for 100 yards in one of those games. Then the next year, they hosted the Ravens in the wild card round, and he didn't do nothing. I mean, people forget that game against the Ravens that year, but like home field, wild card round, and he did nothing. But the game that like sealed it for me was that Bengals game in the playoffs. I said it the other day on the Two Tone Talk Twitter. I said, I've never been more upset at my team losing a game than I was that year that we lost to the Bengals. Luke just said it in the chat. That was our year. I don't know if it was our year, but it was the best chance we've ever... It's the best chance we've had in 20 years. Derek was back. Julio was healthy. AJ was there. Defense was great. And Ryan Tannehill wet the bed. 3 interceptions. First play of the game. One right after Deontay Foreman broke off a long run. And, stupid play call. Stupid play call, but just ridiculous. But the interception that I can't fathom the most was the one at the end when they were driving to kick a field goal to win. You know what happened. I'm not going to make you relive it. What concerns me the most about Tannehill is his ability to step up in those situations. I have no doubt that on Sunday afternoon at 12 o'clock, when it's time to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, on CBS, Ryan Tannehill can do more than an adequate enough job to win. I worry about when the lights are on bright and it's him versus Mahomes in the playoffs, him versus Burrow in the playoffs, him versus Allen in the playoffs, him versus Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs, or for a playoff spot. That's when I worry about him. Because that Bengals game did something to me, okay? That Bengals game did something to me, took something from me I ain't never gonna get back. I'm serious, man. Jaden asked if there's a lot of people hating on this Hopkins pickup. I mean, there's always going to be some. There are some Titans fans, and I get this. Like, some Titans fans are worried because we saw it with Julio, Randy Moss, Eric Decker, Andre Johnson. Titans have a history of picking up, like, Hall of Fame caliber, legendary wide receivers, and then they just end up doing nothing. What that tells me, though, is that we're due. We're due for one of these things to work out. We're due for one of these legends at wide receiver to work out eventually, right? It has to work out eventually. It didn't work out. I mean, Julio did some decent stuff here and there, but overall, no, it was not a good thing, right? Andre Johnson retired in the middle of a season. Eric Decker ain't doing nothing. He had a touchdown in a playoff game. Good for him. And then he complained about Marcus in the aftermath. And then Randy Moss did less than nothing. So we're due for one of these legends to work out, and I hope D-Hop's the guy. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm worried about his injuries and his age and all that. But I hope here's what I would love to see. I want to see. You guys already know how I feel about this. Derrick Henry's a beast. He's the man. But I'm sick of the Titans being a one-trick pony. I am sick of Derrick Henry having to do it all the time, week in and week out. I am sick of having to live and die by Derrick Henry. And he's great, and I'm thankful he's on the team. But we gotta have a better passing attack than we've had these last couple of years. We have to. It can't just be him. It can't just be him. People are speculating, do you ever think Derrick Henry can go for another 2,000-yard season? I hope not. I hope he doesn't have to. I want to see Treylon Burks take that next step that we all believe he's capable of doing, but he's got to prove it. I want to see Chig Okonkwo take the next step. I want to see, D-Hop come in and do his thing. I want to see this that running back from Tulane. Yeah. that they say is showing a lot of great promise in practice and stuff. I want to see him getting involved. I want to see this tight end that they drafted. I want to see him doing some stuff. Big old boy. And this offensive line can't be worse, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be the best in the world, but they have to be an improvement from that crap we had last year. So, as far as the ceiling for this team, what's realistic? What's not realistic? Well, the team's better today than they were 2 days ago, right? I think we all feel better today than we did a couple days ago because, like I said, that wide receiving group was like a black cloud just hanging over this team. And now it's a little better. The cloud started to part a little bit. We got DeAndre Hopkins coming to town. And so, you know, we're still gonna need Traylon to take that next step. But lest we forget, like, Mike Vrabel's a great coach. And some people disagreed yesterday. I got a lot of Jaguars fans who were just not agreeing with me at all. But I still believe that Mike Vrabel's the best coach in the AFC South. Doug Peterson's a good coach, but I still believe Vrabel's the best coach in the South. I still believe that we have the best running back in the AFC South for sure. I still believe, you know, I don't think if he's healthy, I don't think any of these other teams in the AFC South have a wide receiver as talented as Hopkins. And the Jaguars, God, the Jaguars fans, they own one. They had one good year, and now they own one. Okay, they think they're gonna come out here and, you know, sweep everybody. But they got good wide receivers and everything. I don't think if Hopkins stays healthy, I think he's the best wide receiver in the AFC South. If he's healthy, okay, I still think he's that good. Because the Colts, Texans, they don't have a lot of talent at the skill position. So, I think we can win the AFC South, and I think that, you know, you never know how things are going to go over the course of a season with injuries and things like that. But, you know, people are going to be high on the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs, but the Titans have actually, well, not the Bengals, but the Titans actually tend to fare pretty well in those games against those teams. They've actually borderline had the Chiefs' number over the last few years. I know they lost to him in overtime with Malik Willis at quarterback at Arrowhead last year. The Bengals, you know, we can't seem to shake them, but the Bills, overall, we usually do well against them. We didn't last year. Now, that Monday Night Football game last year was brutal against them, but here's the thing. You're going to go in this year and everybody's going to be high on other teams. As soon as DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Titans, he sealed the fact that nobody's going to even think about him. Because the second he put on two-tone blue, the entire sports media said, okay, who cares? They still look at the Titans and they're like, oh, Derrick Henry, right? They're going to hand him the ball 50 times a game. That's kind of what they do. So that's a good thing. I like the fact that the Titans just kind of fly under that radar. That's what I like. I don't want sports media talking about the Titans. I want everybody talking about the Jaguars, right? And the Titans are, in most sports media minds, they're the least interesting team in the division. The Colts have got Anthony Richardson. We're so excited to see what's going to happen with him. The Texans have got C.J. Stroud. We're so excited to see what's going to happen with him. The Jaguars have got Trevor Lawrence, and he's the second coming of Jesus Christ himself. So we can't wait to see what's going to happen with him. Oh, my God, the Jaguars, who needed the referee's help to beat the Titans in the play-in game to get in the playoffs, and then needed the Chargers to blow the biggest lead in NFL playoff history to beat them in the first round. Oh, my God, they're great. You know, so, I mean, the Titans are not going to come in with a bunch of pomp and, you know, everybody going crazy for them. But I believe they have a chance to be a sneaky team. You know, I'm not saying I'm not going to come on here and say we're Super Bowl contenders, but they could be a sneaky team, you know. In an AFC that is so stacked, they could be that team that kind of everybody looks up in week 15 and says, I might notice the Titans are like doing good, But I think what we're all concerned about in the back of our minds is injuries, because it's been such a big deal for this team the last 2 seasons. We got to figure this out. Like, when's the injuries stop? When do we move on from this play? I understand injuries happen. Okay, everybody's going to have injuries. They're going to have guys missing certain weeks, but the Titans, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous these last 2 years. So got to get that under control. But I'm much more excited about this season after this acquisition yesterday than I was. Much more excited now. Much more interested now. Because it felt like before, this is going to be the season where we kind of plant the seeds for the next season and the next season. We're going to see what we have so that next season we can come back. Well, after this yesterday, like I said, whether you agree with it or not, they're sending a message that, no, we think we can be competitive right now with Tannehill, with Henry, with Burks, with D-Hop. We think these guys can be competitive right now. And so we'll see. I'm interested. And I'll say this. This is how I'll wrap it up today. It is July 17. We're less than a month away from these Titans playing preseason football. Let me say that again in case somebody needs some encouragement and motivation to get through their Monday. We are less than a month away from the Tennessee Titans playing preseason football. And this, there are some preseasons that feel kind of boring, but this one, I'm excited for this because I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what in the world to make of it. Who knows? All we have to go by is reporters on Twitter. But I'm hearing good things about Malik Willis. I totally thought that ship had sailed, but I'm hearing good things about him. I'm hearing good things. I'm hearing Levis is kind of coming along. He looks jacked. Levis is he's a big old boy. So I'm excited to watch those 2 guys play in the preseason. I'm excited to watch these young guys, this rookie class. I know we're not going to see, any of Henry or, Tannehill or any of that stuff, but a lot of the defensive guys defensive starters probably won't be in, but I'm excited for preseason football, and we're less than 2 months now from the real deal. So here we go. It's getting to that time. I'm sick of this heat outside. I'm sick of these flies and these mosquitoes and the sweat and all that stuff. So what I'm excited about is in a couple months, there's going to be a little breeze in the air. There's going to be a little Titans football on the TV. And DeAndre Hopkins is going to be running out on that field in the two-tone blue. And I'm excited about it. And, some people will say, you're just getting your hopes up again for a legendary wide receiver who's too old and too beat up to do anything. Well, if that's the case, then sue me. Because I'm more excited today than I was a couple of days ago for this season. And I'm ready to see what this team's going to do. They're coming in with no expectations. Like I said, everybody's going to talk about these other teams, and that's fine. They're coming in with no expectations, no pressure. Ain't nobody expect y'all to do nothing. Ain't nobody expecting the Titans to make any noise this season. So, in my history as a fan, that makes it even more fun because when they do win, nobody in sports media knows what the heck to say. A couple of years ago when they had the number 1 seed in the AFC, it was the most freaking hilarious thing I'd ever seen. Because nobody on ESPN knew what to say. They were like, oh yeah, the Titans are, number 1 seed. They're in Nashville. They didn't have a clue what to say. So I'm hoping that hoping we get another one of those years, man. Let's see what we can do with this legendary D-Hop. I'm excited about having him on the team. I'm excited about the season, and I'm excited about being back on Two-Tone Talk. It'll be back weekly very soon as the season approaches. Like I said, less than a month from preseason. So go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to Two-Tone Talk Podcast. There's going to be a ton of stuff coming your way very soon. Go follow me on Twitter at Two Tone Talk, because there'll be a ton of ranting and raving and all sorts of stuff over there. Thank you, guys. This is the Two Tone Talk podcast, where we're staying way too high on the wins, way too low on the losses. Tighten up. Have a good week. Celebrate that D-Hop news, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
That ain't no way to be. So many people try to get you to fit their mold. I think it's time for a change. This is what I say.